Hi friends, my name is Viv. Welcome to my Yummytown. Today we'll make a stir-fried eggplant dish in a typical Sichuan flavor called Yuxiang, which literally means fish aroma, often referred to as garlic sauce here in the US. This complex flavor mix actually got its name for being originally used by Sichuan people to cook fish in order to cover up the unpleasant fishy smell, before later on being improved and applied to many other ingredients, most commonly pork and eggplants. Yuxiang is a mixture of sweet, sour, and spicy with aromatic herbs and spices. We'll use it as an example to introduce a few typical Sichuan flavoring ingredients and the use of esterification in Chinese cooking. And as always, I'll include a tip or two of my own. Let's take a look at the ingredients. I'm using Asian eggplants to give the dish a vibrant purple color and juicy texture. Eggplants are tricky to cook because they either don't absorb enough flavor or quickly turn into a soggy mush. To solve both problems, we're using this carving technique to expose a larger cooking area for each piece of the eggplant. First, we remove the stems, then split the eggplant in halves. Then we make incisions 2/3 into the eggplants, about half a centimeter apart. Then we repeat the process at a 45-degree angle to the previous incisions and cut through at every third or so incision to create these 1-inch wide, 1.5 to 2-inch long pieces. Let's watch it again. Soak the eggplant pieces in water as you continue to finish cutting. This will prevent the white parts from turning brown when exposed to oxygen. Once you're done, drain the eggplant pieces and coat them evenly with cornstarch. Now let's move on to the trail that I call the soul of Sichuan food, doubanjiang, Sichuan peppercorn, and pickled chili peppers. Doubanjiang is made from first fermenting broad beans and then combining the fermented broad beans with, for the most part, chili, salt, and rice wine for further fermentation. The resulting product is a lumpy, moist, grease-free paste, maroon in color, spicy, salty, and slightly sweet and sour in taste, and mildly alcoholic in smell. Doubanjiang has chunks of broad beans and larger pieces of chilies that can become an unpleasant surprise in cooked dishes. So most restaurants would mince the paste before cooking. Or if you're lazy like me, just use a pair of scissors and do this. Pickled chili, although not absolutely necessary for this dish, can make a pretty big difference in the flavor. It is loved across the central and southwest regions in China, and the most popular styles are from Hunan, Guizhou, Yunnan, and Sichuan. The Sichuan-style pickled veggies have a distinct spicy aroma and salty umami flavor. Leave me a comment if you're interested to start your own Sichuan pickle jar at home. I'll send the link to the written recipe. I'm grouping the pickled chili and doubanjiang into the same saucer because I'll use them at the same stage during cooking. Same goes for the other aromatics and spices. One of the spices used in this dish is huajiao, commonly known as Sichuan peppercorn. Sichuan peppercorns are the dried shells of the fruits from a family of flowering bushes local to the northwest and southwest regions in China. Dried, mature Sichuan peppercorns have a reddish-brown color, sweet aroma, and will prompt a tingly, numbing sensation in the mouth when consumed. Sichuan peppercorns, combined with local Sichuan chilies like Arjingtiao chilies and Facing Heaven chilies, produce the typical Sichuan mala flavor profile. They are also very often used together with doubanjiang in typical Sichuan dishes such as mapo tofu, kung pao chicken, and yuxiang pork, aka shredded pork and garlic sauce in some parts of the world. Now to the stove. First, we heat canola oil to 350 degrees Fahrenheit in the frying pot and drop the eggplant pieces in one at a time. At this temperature, the starch should quickly form a seal and prevent the eggplants from absorbing too much oil and getting greasy and soggy. It should also be not too hot and burn the pieces before they are cooked to the right texture. Dropping the pieces in one at a time will stop the starch from clotting and keep the pieces separate. This step will also bring out the vibrant purple color and preserve it throughout the stir-frying process. Fry the eggplants for approximately 1.5 minutes or till squishy with a subtle shell. Move the pieces onto paper towel to get rid of excess oil. For better presentation, lay down 2 to 3 layers of paper towel on a big plate and lay one single layer of fried eggplants to drain for about 10 minutes. So you don't have to squash each piece to drain the excess oil like what I'm doing here. But if you don't mind the deflated eggplants for your presentation, my method here is actually very effective at keeping the eggplants from getting greasy. Then bring the wok to high heat. Feel at about 1 foot above the wok to make sure the wok is hot. Then pour about 4 tablespoons of canola oil into the wok and immediately stir in the ground pork. Stir to break the ground pork apart and keep stirring till the liquid turns white from the pork fat being rendered. That's when we add the doubanjiang and pickled chilies. You should almost immediately be able to smell a new sweet aroma, previously non-existent in any of the ingredients currently in the wok. That's the smell of fatty acid ester, an aromatic compound produced by the chemical reaction between the fatty acid in the pork and the alcohol in the fermented ingredients. Esterification is used very often in Chinese cooking to remove the unpleasant gamey or fishy flavors from meats, usually by adding rice wine to the meat in a hot wok during stir frying. Stir till evenly colorized. Then stir in the garlic, ginger, and Sichuan peppercorn. The wok is kept at a high temperature so that the aromatic compounds will get extracted quickly and thoroughly, which means it's very important that I move quickly or else the ingredients will burn and leave a bitter taste. Once you smell the Sichuan peppercorn in the air, pour in the vodka. This will facilitate another esterification reaction, bind the flavors, and stabilize the temperature in the wok. I tend to use vodka as an accessible substitute for rice wine. It works because the relatively high ABV percentage in vodka helps create ester, while the neutral taste won't mess with the taste of the dish. Once the alcohol smell is gone, add the eggplants to the wok. Stir to mix, but try not to break the pieces. Once the eggplants are evenly colorized, pour in the stir-fry sauce. The starch in the sauce will thicken the liquid in the wok and bind the flavors to coat the eggplants. It is a technique commonly used in Chinese cooking called gouqian, which translates roughly into starch thickening. I've talked about it a bit more in the previous stir-fry 101 video if you're interested. Once the eggplants are evenly coated in the shiny glaze, turn off the heat and stir in the scallions. Scallions can be too pungent when consumed raw, but have a sweet aroma when cooked that diminishes quickly under heat. That makes the best timing for adding scallions to be right after the stove is turned off, when there is still plenty of residual heat in the wok. Now we plate and dig in. Growing up as a meat-eater kid, I hated most veggies, especially eggplants, until my mom successfully converted me with this exact dish. And thanks to her, I get to share this recipe with you today. Hope you love it as much as I do. Thanks for visiting Viv's Yummytown, and Happy Chinese New Year! See you next week!